are following breaking news. A 4.7 earthquake has just struck near Barstow, about 17 miles from Barstow. It has been felt as far away as right here in Studio City. Some folks here in our newsroom felt it just a short time ago, right about 1 o'clock this afternoon. You can see here on the seismograph the actual earthquake being felt again near Barstow, and we're seeing all of these areas where it was actually felt, and again, this happening right around 1 o'clock, and so far we are not hearing any damage, any injuries that have happened at this point. But again, that 4.7 earthquake hitting near Barstow at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now we're hearing that it's actually been upgraded to a 4.9. Oftentimes, the initial earthquake is felt and then registered and then changed a little bit, but now people are starting to feel aftershocks of this earthquake. And Mark Liu is also here at the breaking news desk. And Mark, we haven't heard of any damage or any injuries at this point, correct?
No, not yet. But this is San Bernardino County Fire. So they're going to go into earthquake mode, where they're going to go out into the community of Barstow and check for any damage. But what you're looking at here is from the U.S. Geological Survey. This is their earthquake page. And you can see here the epicenter appears to be to the northeast of Barstow right here. This is the community of Barstow right here. The 15 goes down this way. And you can see the concentric rings emanating out from the epicenter. And then I want to zoom out a little bit, and these blue squares you can see here. This is really nice that the USGS has combined both the shake map and the Did You Feel It map together. These blue squares that you see like here and all around here, these are all examples of places in Southern California where people have self-reported that they have felt the earthquake. Now, these blue squares indicate the lightest of shaking. So we're really not seeing a lot of heavy shaking, but it is felt all through Southern California, even over here in the Ventura area, just south of Santa Clarita, including all the way down here in Cathedral City and Indio. So certainly this was felt by people all over Southern California, but just in a really, really light way. Not a lot of serious shaking being felt anywhere. But again, this is the concentric rings here of the waveform moving outwards from the epicenter, which is just to the northeast, almost to the east of Barstow, right off the 15. I'm sure that if anybody was on the 15 as it goes through here, they probably felt it very strongly, since the epicenter was just to the north of the freeway. But we continue here at the desk to check for examples of anything in San Bernardino County where there's any damage. And Amy, right now we have not heard of any.
Yeah, it really is remarkable, Mark, that people here, I mean, we're talking about a good 90 miles away, that people here in our studio felt it. You and I were walking out of the studio after finishing KCAL News at noon and did not feel anything. And then we heard, hey, there's been an earthquake. And we were thinking where, but now we clearly know this is just outside of Barstow, about 14 miles outside of Barstow, a 4.9. It was felt here and all around the Southland, and we are hearing that there have been several aftershocks, which is very common. And at times you can find out that there is an aftershock that is actually bigger, and then we find out that the initial earthquake was really a earthquake there. But at this point, there have been no aftershocks that have been larger. Again, this has just been that 4.9 with some aftershocks. And again, there have been no injuries reported, no damage reported at this point. But of course, we are continuing to monitor this. But at this point, that 4.9 certainly shook things up all around. But certainly good news to know that there have been no injuries and no damage reported at this point, Mark.
Yeah, and what you're looking at here, this is the very light shaking that was felt. This is another version of the shake map. This one is more of a color-coded one. You can see it gets a little bit lighter yellow here near the center. This is just a more intense shaking that was felt as I zoom really close in here. The city of Barstow, again, right here, and the Mojave Valley extends basically through this way. But you can see as the 15 freeway moves to the north and the south right here, this earthquake, USGS indication is that it was basically in a place called the Calico Mountains. mountains. I noticed actually as I zoom in, there's a landmark right here. This is the Calico Ghost Town, which is sort of a tourist spot. If you've ever gone out into the high desert, it's kind of a it's a tourist spot that you can go, an old mining town that's there. That's not far at all from where this epicenter is here in the center of your screen. Not a lot out here. This is a sparsely populated area to the east, northeast of Barstow, but there are people that live out there. There's some agriculture out there, but you can see the yellowish area here in the center. That's a little bit more intense shaking than the light blue and the purples that come out here. It's much, much more lighter than that. So again, it's unclear whether or not there's going to be any damage, but I'm certain that people in Barstow must have felt it because people in Southern California, south of the Cajon Pass, all the way down here in this area, in the greater Los Angeles and Orange County area, did report feeling it, as well as in the Inland Empire. So this earthquake is going to be something that San Bernardino County is going to send officials out into the field, probably in the Victorville area, both in Barstow and Victorville, to go and check the area around, maybe even Lancaster, Palmdale. They may have felt it a little bit stronger in that area because there's less mountains in between the two spots. They're going to be checking to make sure that there is no damage out in any of those communities. So far, we have not heard of any yet, but we're continuing to check.
Well, Mark, we are just hearing that folks in Burbank and Pasadena felt this earthquake. Again, it struck right about 1 o'clock. It has now been declared a 4.9 earthquake that struck just outside of Barstow. 1 o'clock. No reports of any damage at this point or any injuries. But of course, we are going to continue to monitor this, and we will bring you much more on this earthquake on KCAL News at 4.